for once in our lives, let's just jump into it
Let's
without
just-
meticulously planning.
Let's just jump. All the times that we like plan this out so well.
Yeah, let's throw all of our
Caution to the wind.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just take all of our anxieties and our worries about what people think, just throw them out the window.
Just jump right into it.
Let's take the carefully crafted quality that we put into each episode and totally shit all over it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do the intro, I guess, because I made you do it during D&D.
That was a pretty good intro right there.
Was that it?
Was that it? Are we going?
I don't know. I'm asking you. Was that the intro?
Yeah.
Okay. Well then, what's good? Saul, dudes. Welcome.
You want to do a real intro, don't you?
No, I mean, no, it's good. It'll just start with me going, I guess I'll do the intro because you did it for D&D.
Sure.
Well, there you go. That's the intro. So this is in the episode.
We're on.
Yeah, we're on.
Oh, God. Okay.
Mike's hot.
Oh, wait, I got to do my hair. 1 second.
Yeah, make the hair look.
Jeez. Okay.
How do you walk out of bed like that? Is that how you phrase it?
How do you get up out of bed like that?
This
This is real sloppy. Are you sure this should be the intro?
This is the intro.
Okay,
This
cool.
is for sure the intro. What's good, fams? I'm Alex.
I'm Ryan.
Yeah. You forgot for a second. And
I didn't know. I wasn't giving my cue.
the intro isn't clear. And it's whatever.
We do a clap. We have Henry come and do a clap.
Yeah, he does a clap for
What's
us.
the thing?
This is like my fanfic. We are the internet's fanfiction podcast where we read fanfiction, review it, sometimes rate it, sometimes talk about just fanfiction in general. And then we do some other dumb stuff where we have like skits. And last episode we played Dungeons and Dragons, and I count that as fan fiction because it was a collaborative storytelling.
That's right. And we took some very, very large liberties to the campaign that I was trying to get.
I would say
together.
so.
So it was a fan fiction of what I was trying to accomplish, which was a coherent story.
I mean, we fought a dragon, so that's pretty cool.
You did not.
That was pretty cool. We fought the dragon. My favorite part was when we were like, when we went back to the innkeeper, the bartender, Tobes, and we were like, "Hey, dude. What is this nonsense about there not being a dragon around?" And then you're like, sorry. And then I'm like, yeah, so where are the whores? And you're like, there are no whores. And I'm like, you lied about the dragons. Like, I don't know, I just thought that was funny.
I can't trust you.
Yeah. It's like, how are we ever going to trust you, Tobias?
That's a good little plug. Yeah, I mean, let us know if you like that, if you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll release more. I think we're planning on doing a lot of Patreon exclusives, so it's all content that'll be on there for you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe the patrons will finally have something to get their money's worth.
I say you guys because you're a dude. Whoever's listening to this, it's dudes.
Likelies.
Yeah,
likelies.
The demographic is overwhelmingly female, or at least not male, in the fanfiction community. But only
People
dudes
listen to this.
Only dudes listen to this.
We're basically this is like Mansers for fan fiction. That's what we're doing. Like,
Is there anything better than boobs?
Brought to you by Jack Link's Beef.
yeah, what a shit show. Remember when you were like,
That came on right after 1,000 Ways to Die.
yeah, when you're like 12 and you'd watch it and you're like, that's what being a man is all about. Or you're like,
That's what being a man is all about.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, dude, Mansers.
That's probably why I'm so messed up because I watched a lot of Mansers.
Oh, yeah.
1,000 Ways to Die was also a really weird show. That was a really weird show. So, opening topic, BuzzFeed is at it again. July 25th, so very recent. 19 fanfiction tropes we all ate up in middle school. So we've talked about fanfic tropes before. I think it'd be nice to have a little refresher. I think it's nice to see what BuzzFeed has to say.
BuzzFeed is always a welcome voice to any conversation
Yes.
of mine.
This is a timely manner, and the scholarly academic BuzzFeed needs to tell us.
July
What
25th, you said?
Yeah,
Must
this
have been-
year.
Yeah, must have been a slow day.
Must have been a super
Really slow day.
slow or a regular day for BuzzFeed.
Slow day at the work from home office.
Someone was like, man, I can't come up with any quiz ideas. You know, it's like, I just wrote what produce are you in the produce market. I can't think of anything right now. So let's just talk about fanfiction.
Let's do it.
Kind
Take
of,
this one. Let's take this one. What is that from Watchmen? The Crazy's Been?
yeah. Let's just think that she listened to our podcast and was like, I need to talk about it.
I mean, we inspire a lot of
Yeah.
literature and art.
So they started saying, like, if you grew up with the internet, you went through a fanfiction phase, which
That's fair.
not particularly true for everybody, but and then they linked to a tweet. Everyone goes through a moment in their lives when they have to put down the book they're reading and accept the fact that they've read better fiction from anonymous writers on AO3, which isn't wrong.
You know what's crazy? Is I've never really been reading a book and being like, this is unbearable. Like, every time I read a book, I'm like, this is honestly good. Like, this is obviously written professionally and whatnot. I also feel that way about some fan fiction I wrote. This is very good, high quality, borderline professional. But is that bad? I feel like sometimes if I don't like parts of a book, I feel smart because that means I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just blindly accepting everything they tell me.
So I think even with like my high reading rate, and what you still have an above average reading rate than most people in the country.
Thanks.
No, you do. You really do.
Shucks.
I still feel like with how much we read, it's still not as much as some people read, and like because we haven't read as much
bookworms.
Yeah, because we haven't read as much for as long as most people, we still have like the liberty of reading the good stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and we're reading stuff that like is recommended to us. Yeah. Or like for me, I'm just like going through all of Frank Herbert's back catalog.
Yeah,
so,
I'm not
like,
just picking up like a 99-cent
exactly
paperback at a store and being like, oh, yeah, it's probably awful.
Like, you know the date with the book concept? You know what I'm talking about?
What you just like go out to dinner and talk,
blind date with a book.
You swipe right on a book and it shows up and
you walk into you walk into Barnes and Noble or the Strand, shout out New York things, and they'll have like a brown paper bag that is wrapped over a book with like a piece of twine on it, and it'll be like blind date with a book.
Twine, I'm there. I'm such a millennial, bro. If I see twine, I'm there.
But it'll have like a sticker.
My food tastes better when I wrap it in twine.
It'll have a sticker that's like detective novel or like just something really general. Yes. And you'll go home and you'll unwrap it, and you're like, oh fuck, I got a bad one. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit. But
they were trying to get rid of this one.
Like, how much do you have to read a blind date with a book? Like all the other stuff you've wanted to read, you've read.
It's also appealing to my millennial sensibilities because it alleviates the paralysis of choice.
Yeah.
Just like someone has done this for me and they put some twine on it, so it's for me.
That's Mark Zuckerberg right there.
Yep.
Yeah. Next thing you know, you're going to have a face full of sunscreen that isn't rubbed in, and you're going to be awkwardly wakeboarding and everyone's going to make fun of you.
That's just his style.
That's his style. So to go back to that, I think that's who they're talking about. Like people who literally like read that much and they just get like halfway through a book and they're like, this is bad. Or, quarter of the way, whatever. I'll be honest, I did that with 2 books when I was in undergrad. One was Slaughterhouse-5 by Kurt Vonnegut, and I still don't know if I like that book.
See, I read that book and I was like, I like this book. This is fine.
The Tremalthadorians was like so weird to me, but then when I realized it was all just like one big metaphor for PTSD, I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. And then the other one was Catch-22 by Joseph Heller.
Still read that.
When I was reading it, I despised it. I was like, this is so bad. And then when it was done, because it's told non-linearly, when it was completed and I sat the book down and I had the full picture, I was like, that's the masterpiece. I really liked it. So, like, I've trudged through books.
Don't judge a book by its cover, its middle, or maybe even its end.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
It's great. All books are great.
So maybe if I read more, like, I'll get to that point where I'm like, this book's bad.
That's why I'm hypercritical of YouTube short comedy films, because I've just seen so many of them.
That is true. Yeah. Here's another tweet they linked to. No one, 2011 Wattpad fic. I was getting ready for school, putting my long brown hair into a messy bun. As I looked at my blue eyes in the mirror, my mom came in. I sold you to pay our debt, she said. Come meet your new master. I went downstairs, and there he was, Harry Styles.
Yes.
So that's a good mirror of the TikTok face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly the soulmate you were talking about. Here, for the ASMR, let me just jingle my keys like it's in my pocket.
There you go. It had to be uncomfortable because you were in gym shorts, so just the keys.
Yeah, it was just absolutely jamming it to me.
So here are the 19 things that probably happened in every fanfic you read in junior high.
And the one thing that didn't. Right.
Oh my god, shut the fuck up.
Things that didn't happen.
And the one thing that didn't. So one, eyes were always called orbs. We read that.
Yeah, that's a
thing, yeah. Every male character was described as having a, quote, a mop of messy dark hair and a, quote, lopsided grin. That's pretty common.
That's pretty good.
I read that.
Yeah. I would date him.
Sounds like a good guy.
Yeah.
Every female character would always wear her hair in a messy bun, no matter the occasion.
Yeah, messy buns. Yeah, it was like, oh, like I don't know my worth. I'm just like effortlessly gorgeous. Yeah, and I love that bit from the tweet too. It's just like my brown hair.
Yeah,
and I looked at my blue
eyes. Yeah,
yeah.
It's like when you first learn to write and you're like thinking you have to describe everything. Yeah. Every boy also mysteriously smelled like pine trees. I don't get that one.
Yeah.
You don't get it, or you?
No, I get that.
You do get it.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's like I breathed in his scent. Pine. Like I think it's the idea.
Really?
It's like that. Like it was everyone was going through that lumberjack
probably
phase.
The axe.
Yeah,
probably the axe.
Oh, probably the axe. Yeah.
Then they linked to a tweet. I've never met a boy who smells like pine. Where do YA book characters find these boys? Are they actually just trees? That's pretty funny.
That's a good point.
The author would just randomly insert themselves in the middle of the story to tell us their thoughts. I mean, we've read that.
Absolutely. Yeah. The hop in there. Like the Christmas Carol one that we read.
Yeah, that was so funny.
God damn. What guy?
That was so good.
Such a legendary guy.
What was his name? Nicholas? Jeremy? It was one of those.
Oh, yeah. I got things like Jeremy or Dan or something. Yeah.
Sometimes a fic would be tagged not safe for work, so you would cautiously pull it up on your flip phone and then jump if your mom so much as walked past you.
Bro, I didn't, like, until I got the iPhone, I didn't have internet on my phone, so I can't sympathize.
Also, I wouldn't want to load shit on that janky-ass internet anyways.
I remember my phone, like my Nokia, as soon as you, or whatever I had, the first Nokia that could go online, I remember as soon as I went online, it was like, warning, you will incur like $1,000 a second, and I was like, back out.
No. Yeah, and like, they would keep the app like so prominently there, like you were definitely going to tap on it on accident.
But it always gave you that warning, just scared the living daylights out of you.
Band members and celebrities would show up to the narrator's house with no explanation. Yeah.
Oh, their car broke down. Yeah. But none of the Jonas brothers can drive yet.
Yeah. Except for maybe Frankie, the youngest, the bonus Jonas. There was sexual tension between literally everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And OC, original character, would just randomly join the group and instantly be trusted with everyone's secrets.
You have an OC now.
Oh, with D&D.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
That's another D&D plug.
A character would be killed off, then just show up a few chapters later with no explanation.
That sounds like... I feel
like Sonic High School.
No, there was always an explanation. He was resurrected.
Yeah, that's true. All the book covers look like this, and it's just like a multi-ethnic conglomerate of people looking down into the camera. Mm. Is that a good way to describe that? I think that's pretty spot on.
That's exactly what I'm looking at.
Cool. Two characters who don't yet realize their mutual attraction would somehow end up in a hotel room together, and there would be only one bed.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's one of the soulmate things where they're forced to share a bed. Mm-hmm. That's so awkward. I loved that though, and I was obsessed. That was like my favorite fan fiction thing. I think now they also call it like sex spore, where it's like for whatever reason, they're like otherworldly devices cause them to be attracted to each other. So there's like still contempt, but they're like also doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I love it.
It's good. And they'd wake up in a quote mess of tangled limbs.
Yeah. That sounds like a Dave Matthews lyric, too.
Yeah. Mess of tangled limbs. A character would smirk or chuckle like every other line. Most fics begin with Y/N, your name, because who wouldn't want to imagine themselves getting coffee with Harry Styles in Hipster Cafe? You tell me.
Gotta get that lopsided grin when I can.
Exactly. And the moppy hair. Parents usually didn't exist, or they were weirdly chill about everything, like the children skipping school to hang out with Fall Out Boy.
Oh, exactly. She'd be like, I skipped school, which would have been bad, but my parents were okay with it.
Yeah, she was totally cool. My mom was
like,
totally cool.
100%.
At the same time, like, you're like, Mom, fuck you don't understand me. And then you're writing, like, my mom was, like, totally cool with me hanging out with Fall Out Boy. Everyone basically lived at Starbucks for some reason. If someone accidentally spilled coffee on someone else, you could guarantee they were destined to fall in love. That's pretty good. Imagine like a coffee fic.
Oh yeah, imagine being in the background of one of those fics, like your character who's somehow self-aware that you're in a fan fiction, and you see like Taylor Swift spill coffee on the lead singer of Fall Out Boy. And I don't know any of these people. You're just like, they're gonna bang.
Imagine
you turn back to your person.
Yeah,
those two.
They're definitely gonna fuck.
They're banging.
Imagine like have you ever seen?
Imagine we're doing Imagine.
Imagine. Have you ever seen Stranger Than Fiction with Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
It's a great movie. Yeah. So what if someone wrote a fanfic where they're in the coffee shop writing a fanfic, and then like the celebrities walk in and like have the meet cute with like the coffee spilling on them, like as you're writing it, and you're like watching. Yeah.
So you write a fan fiction of Stranger Than Fan Fiction.
Yeah, Stranger Than Fan Fiction.
Where you're the OC.
Yeah.
As an insert.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What if you're writing about Will Ferrell too?
It's very meta.
Huge meta. It was Will Ferrell and
fucking meta.
Insert other celebrity here, Christian Chenoweth.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Or Rachel McAdams.
There you go.
She was just in Eurovision with him.
Did you watch that?
No.
My sister watched it.
She like it?
No.
Yeah. I don't. You're talking about books that you don't like, that you'll stop.
You didn't like the novelization of Eurovision, didn't you?
No, I actually love the novelization of Eurovision. But as far as movies go, I'm actually really, even if I hate a movie, I'll finish it. I don't know why. Like, I don't watch enough movies to be like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
Like, I just like, so if I'm watching one, I'm like, well, I started, I might as well finish. And recent memory, I can think of 2 that I stopped, and I think it was the only 2 I ever stopped watching. It's like been very recent.
Batman v Superman and Justice League.
No, I've watched BVS multiple times, including the Ultimate Edition, which is like 3 hours long.
But we know you hate those movies.
Yeah, they're the worst. The first one was, I think it's called The Week Of. It's an Adam Sandler movie on Netflix, and it is just so incredibly god awful. It is like I sat through all of the Hateful Eight.
Oh my god!
And even
that's a Tarantino movie. I've never
not Hateful Eight, The Ridiculous Eight.
Oh, The Ridiculous Six.
Ridiculous Six. That's what I sat through all of that, and it was god awful. And I sat through all of his other shitty movies, but I couldn't sit through that. And then there was one on Hulu that was like trying to also be a scary movie parody, but did it way worse, and I just couldn't sit through that.
Yeah, this looks pretty tough to get through.
It's bad.
Oh, here we go. That was the trailer coming up. I don't want to watch that.
No. And finally, there would always be a super long author's note at the very end, and it could definitely be concluded with XD.
Our last author's note at the end was just, please end me.
Yeah, I want to die. Yeah. Well, the one for Storm Area 51.
Right.
Or episode 51. Yeah.
Clap them cheeks.
You gotta clap the cheeks, So yeah, that's the list, the BuzzFeed. It's good. It's good reflection.
Yeah, I mean,
good recap.
I feel like that was a list of other lists that the author
found
haphazardly searched and just wrote down.
Absolutely.
And just screenshot a couple tweets and was like, that's it. Yeah. Honest work for honest pay.
That's pretty much
over here at BuzzFeed.
Yeah. I hit my character limit, so let's do this. Or character minimum, so time to scrape in that cold hard cryptocurrency.
Time to close the old laptop lid and crack open a nice bottle of red.
Yeah, a nice White Claw.
Yeah.
Let's get going. Oh my god.
Yeah.
What the fuck kind of world are we living in nowadays?
I'm very much romanticizing the life of a BuzzFeed writer. I would like to spend a day in there.
Yeah.
Toms? I don't know if they were.
Yeah. I like to think that BuzzFeed writers are the same ones that are like out protesting and like screaming like seize the means of production. Mm-hmm. And it's like your means of production is your computer. Like you're not going into a factory where you're like making twine and you're like, we need to seize the twine machine.
God, I should quit my job and go work at a twine factory.
You know what I mean? Like you're not doing something like that. Like your means of production is like Twitter and your computer.
Yeah, you're like a cultural parasite.
Yeah.
Like, your entire existence is just being a vulture off of like the scraps of the like just the underbelly.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're getting paid to do like a fan fiction article. Right. We're really dunking on BuzzFeed. Like, holy shit. Well, you get my point, right? Like you're like running around and you're, I don't know, to be like a
you're like late to your BuzzFeed meeting because you got caught up at Whole Foods.
Yeah.
And, like the trains are down. Yeah. And like your shoes are falling apart because they're not made from transit. You're just like late to the meeting. Your laptop's dead. You're like, I'm so sorry. You're plugging it in. It was raining. Your hair's wet. Like
in a messy
bun. Who does that? Yeah.
In a messy bun.
Who does that?
I don't know.
Your orbs are starting to water because you think you're gonna get fired.
Beautiful blue orbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know who would do anything like that.
That's awful.
Not this guy.
That's awful.
Yeah. But yeah, Season means production. Let's take their laptops from them.
Yeah.
That might actually be better for the world, you know?
Yeah, if all BuzzFeed was just like handwritten articles posted in coffee shops.
I'd like that.
Yeah. You know? Like a decree.
Yeah.
BuzzFeed decreeth. And then just
instead of like 19 fan fiction tropes, it's like 95 theses about fan fiction.
Exactly.
I'd like that.
And it's just like they hire like a young ragamuffin to go
to
every local
town caller
tavern and nail it to the door. That's how you get your BuzzFeed news.
I like that. Why aren't we doing that?
That's guerrilla marketing. That's
Vice. That's Vice.
That's grassroots.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's our roundabout way of introducing our Suck My Fanfic newsletter.
That's
how it will be delivered.
Go check your local coffee shop.
Yeah.
And also
wear a mask.
Could you be a ragamuffin and go banging on the door for us, please?
Yeah, we're currently enlisting ragamuffins.
Yeah, ragamuffins. We're looking for all ragamuffins, vagrants, and rapscallions.
The 25-cent tier of our Patreon is called Ragamuffin. And you get access to our newsletter.
Jesus Christ, like we would actually give ourselves any more work than we already like put off. I like the idea of taking on more. Yeah. Like no, like we can totally handle more when we can barely handle.
Yeah. What are you thinking? Weekly?
I'm thinking daily.
You're thinking daily?
Daily, yeah.
Daily.
We're gonna start
with an evening edition
vlog channel.
With an evening edition.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh Jesus Christ, that's such a bad.
100 days of vlogs. Here we go. Day one.
Vlogs. Oh, I love those. Like I just want to like let you all know that I'm gonna be posting weekly, and then like 3 weeks later, there's nothing.
I'm gonna make this a daily bit. Like, you guys really gotta hold it to me, like fan gang or fan fans. Or whatever we call you guys.
Low gang for life. So like, if you're a maverick, just like hold me to it, and then you just like totally forget to do it.
So delete channel 10 years later.
I hate when I'll get onto a good YouTube channel and I'll be like, yo, this person is insanely good. Like, and they said they're posting weekly. What's their newest thing? And you click on it, and they haven't posted in like 3 months, and you're like,
yeah. It's like this like video essayist I liked. It was like every frame a portrait. He like really dug deep into like movies and like how it's all staged. I hasn't posted a video in like 2.5 years.
Jesus, who was the video essayist?
What?
Who was it?
It was every frame a portrait.
Oh, that's the name of the channel. Okay.
Every frame a portrait. Yeah, it's
about
like movies and analysis. And,
There's one that I like a lot. Nerd Writer 1.
Nerd Writer. Yeah, that's another good one.
That guy's great.
It's like Nerd Writer, but like a little even more in depth in how to research. I was like, oh, perfect, but literally it's been shut down for like many years.
Yeah, you know, part of me is like gets angry when I see that, but then another me is like gets really jealous.
Maybe they got a real job.
Because it's like BuzzFeed. It's like you're living in the real world now, like you weren't before. Good for you. You know what I mean?
While Nerd Writer gets way more famous, it probably makes more money and gets more recognition.
Yeah, for sure.
So you should just stuck with the game.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. The real world is online.
You basically took Nerd Writer's fans.
Maybe it is Nerd Writer.
There's another channel called Just Right that I watch.
I think I've heard of them.
And I swear to God, they sound identical to me. Like to me, they could be both. They could be the same person, just with different things that he accomplishes.
I think I saw that one. Is that one like how to teach how to like set up like magic systems and like the different? Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. Yep. That one's good. They have one about the Dark Knight, which is like pretty bomb. About like creating conflict. It's really good. Well, look at that. I guess I don't know. Did we do something?
Yeah, we spun a yarn of twine.
Yeah.
Around the throats of every BuzzFeed writer, and we pulled.
Yeah, I like that. You know, this is totally unrelated, but I just learned this. I'm going to talk about it. Do you know that apparently later in his life, after he got very famous, Gandhi got very familiar with spinning yarn and spinning like fabrics, like like twines and yarns.
Everyone has a phase where they get really into like bird watching or something.
Yeah, so that was like his thing, but it became so synonymous with him and his movement that before people were allowed to interview him, they'd have to learn how to do it. And so like
for a guy who was all about like peace and acceptance, that seems kind of like a high barrier to entry.
You forgot the third one.
What?
Beating your wife.
Oh.
Yeah, you forgot that one. Peace, acceptance, and beating your wife.
Yeah, I mean all about those things.
Yeah. But no, he literally would be like, yeah, no, you have to learn how to spin the yarn or whatever.
If you can't spin with Gandhi, you're not ready to go.
You're not ready to go.
Yeah, that's if I was like a flywheel instructor, that's what I'd be like. We're
spinning with Gandhi. That's good. But have you seen the country of India's flag?
No.
It has a spinning wheel in the middle of it.
Oh, because of him.
Yeah, I assume. I didn't actually fact check that part, but I'm gonna say that's fact.
Or did he pick it up because it was on the flag? Chicken or the egg? The Gandhi or the loom?
It could be because he was an activist before they were their own
country. Oh, because he was trying to break free from
independence.
Yeah,
so.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense then.
Yeah. He also learned a lot of his nonviolence in South Africa. Grew up there as a young boy.
Oh.
Or young man, I should say. Yeah. So look at that. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but I'm just kind of flexing on you with historical knowledge.
Yeah, with your Gandhi knowledge.
I
know an embarrassingly small amount about Gandhi.
I think that's okay.
Are you trying to say that Gandhi's over? We're gotten way off. What is the theme of this episode?
I don't know. You're the one with the fic.
We're just ambling.
Yeah. What is the theme of the episode?
I don't know.
Fan fiction?
I hope so.
Okay, cool.
I thought you had a fic.
You actually don't have a fic?
I actually don't have a fic.
I thought you had a fic.
I thought you said it's okay, I can come up with one. I can look up one.
You never said, come up with a fic.
That's true, I didn't.
That's why I thought you had it.
No, I don't.
Oh, well, son of a bitch. I'm not in. Give me a second.
This is it's a 14,000 word fan fiction, and it's if all of the guys of One Direction were actually the guys of Try Guys.
Okay.
And, they have to accept a new member because there's 5 One Directioners and there's 4 Try Guys. So Harry Styles is the D'Artagnan of their musketeer group, so to speak. And then, of course, they'll fall in love. Smash their dicks together.
I don't know who D'Artagnan is.
You never read Three Musketeers?
Mm-hmm.
Got Porthos, Arthos, and the other one. And then,
I thought it was like Athos, Porthos, and I don't know.
Whatever. And
it was the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria.
Right. Whatever.
Yeah.
It was Charizard, Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle.
That sounds right.
And there was this other guy who's like, "Hey, your gang is pretty tight. Can I join?" His name is D'Artagnan, and they're like, "No." And the whole book, he's like, "I want to join," and they're like, "Nah, dude." And then at the end, they're like, "All right, you're cool." And they throw their swords up, and they're like, "All for one and one for all." And then they're all like, "Let's go grab some candy bars."
Bro, it's the 3 Musketeers, not the 4 Musketeers.
He is the 4th Musketeer, D'Artagnan.
What the fuck? Okay, so we're gonna do an Avatar: The Last Airbender fanfic.
Okay.
Give me the elevator pitch on Avatar.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So, imagine there's a kid, and he's got the power of the elements.
The elements.
I'm gonna call him Element Man.
Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you don't know, you haven't been on Netflix or
Only
TikTok.
90s kids remember.
It's had a huge resurgence because it's finally on Netflix.
Yep.
But the most dope, sweet, action-packed, kid-friendly, Eastern philosophy waving, sick storytelling, character-driven show ever. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Okay, basically you got your 4 tribes.
Yep.
They all control elements.
Yep.
Earth, wind, fire, and water.
Ether. Oh yeah.
And ether.
Ether.
And you got the Avatar, who can control all 4 elements simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
And he just tries to bring balance.
There's only ever one Avatar at a time.
Yep.
You know, it has to do with spirit turtles.
There are spirit turtles, yeah.
There are spirit turtles.
It kind of lost me. It kind of lost me a little bit there, but then I brought me back.
Well, the thing is, when my little baby boy brain had no idea what any of that was, but the whole ending elements thing was pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly.
So, guess who? Fire Lord Ozai, because the whole point is that the Avatar disappears for 100 years. Ong.
Not Aang.
They call him Ong in the live action movie. So Aang, he disappears for 100 years, and the Fire Nation is like, "All right, we're going to take over then." And they start attacking everybody and try to rule the continent.
They're the industrialized.
Yeah, they have like steel
civilization.
ships and stuff because they can use their fire to forge. If you're a very good firebender, you can do electricity, which is pretty badass. Or if you're Azula, his sister, you can do blue flames, which is even cooler.
I always thought that was electricity, but then I rewatched it. I'm like, no, that was blue.
No, there's actual electricity.
Yeah, I thought she was the electric one, but no, she's the blue.
She is not the electric type Pokemon.
That freaking blew my mind. I always thought she was the electric one.
Do we want to address why there are so many electric type mice Pokemon?
Let's leave that for another day.
But you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
There's hella electric mice.
And it's because Pikachu sold a lot of merch, and they're like, we need another.
We need another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. Okay, that makes sense. Guess who is the voice of Fire Lord Ozai? Technically the main antagonist.
I'm gonna say Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill.
Yes.
Luke Skywalker is in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
When in doubt, voice actors make it Mark Hamill, that's what I say.
So when was the last time you watched Avatar?
A couple weeks ago, probably.
The whole thing?
I watched bits and pieces of it. Kind of came in and out, yeah.
Highlights?
Mm-hmm.
I would probably say it's 7 years ago that I rewatched the whole thing.
Oh, really?
But I was like, I don't need to watch book 1. I'll just watch the movie. And then so I did that. Which was
the movie, which is famously very loyal to the source material.
Yeah.
And almost a carbon copy of the tone and everything.
Everyone really got famous because of that movie.
Yeah. man, they got so famous they couldn't do another one.
Yeah.
Because they got so busy. With all
they're
their
really busy with all of
jobs. Yeah.
The kid that played Ong hasn't done anything since.
Good.
Neither has most of the cast.
Good,
Don't say good on him.
No, good. Like I'm glad because he needs to be out of the spotlight because he would be ridiculed.
Oh,
it's like a Jake Lloyd situation.
It is a Jake Lloyd
I'm glad
situation.
that he's found some level of privacy.
Hopefully,
yeah,
that's my hope. I hope he's not haunted by this, especially because since Avatar got so popular again, it's like a trend on YouTube right now for everyone to watch the live action movie and shit on it. Yeah, and they all make fun of him. And then
Zoomers
they make fun of,
react.
Yeah,
yeah,
and they make fun of the actors, and it's like. They're just trying to get this bread, bro.
And they're kids.
Yeah.
Like, they really cast young.
Yeah, like, they're trying to get paid, and you're sitting here, like, making fun of them, and you're a fucking whole-ass adult. Like, first off, that was a long time ago, so they're not kids anymore, but you get what I'm saying. But, like, and I think they just get mad at M. Night Shyamalan. Like, he's the one
and obviously, there must have been massive studio interference because of what the heck was going on.
Yeah. So, I mean, I want to see a live action, and, I don't know if you know this, the creators of Avatar are making a live action one.
I know. It's going to be a straight up remake, though. Nothing new added to it.
To my knowledge, it's going to be obviously an adaptation to live action, but it's supposed to be a straight up remake.
Is it going to be like one of those Disney adaptations where they don't put the music in it? Because
I don't know.
If I don't hear "Girl Worth Fighting For," I'm not going to go to the cinema. I'm not going to go.
Or what's the "Leaves from the Vine"? Is that the Uncle Iroh song?
Oh yeah.
From Tales of Boston Say.
I mean, that's going to be.
That's got to be in it. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. I just know that right now there's like a big controversy online, especially between the youths, where everyone is like trying to pin a particular race to each tribe because each tribe is sort of its own race,
right?
And like, I never took it as like, oh, the Fire Nation, they're Japanese, and the Air Nation, they're Korean. Like, I never watched it that way. I just looked at it as like, they're not real, and this isn't the planet Earth.
Yeah,
they can bend elements, so they're just they're a shade of tan, you know what I mean? Like they're a shade of brown.
The other thing I was like, oh, maybe the guru who teaches Aang how to enter the Amethyst.
Yeah.
Say like maybe he's Indian.
Yeah, and
that does that mean anything? Because there's no Indian in this.
No,
world?
So like, if you go on like TikTok or you go on like where all the Zoomers hang out, there are like a lot of arguments about like what race the water tribe's supposed to be, and they're like, don't even come at me unless you want Inuits to be the fucking water tribe, bro. And it's like, I just think it's funny because that's like M. Night Shyamalan tried to like draw those lines.
Yeah,
and like the water tribe was white, and everyone got like so mad about that. And like I get it because they're not white in the show in the animated show. I mean, they're definitely some sort of brown.
Even then, it's like, gosh, you're like no, like it's funny how like there are old heads and young heads in this thing that like we watched when we were kids. And it's like less than maybe 15 years old.
Yeah, and now like they're experiencing it for the first time. And,
and they're like standing it. Yeah, and it's like, I mean, they literally came up with this in a writer's room like 15 years ago.
Exactly.
This is not set in stone. You're not like disgracing the character's name by just doing whatever you want.
Yeah. And the other thing too is like it's not wholly unreasonable to think that like the water tribe's supposed to be like cold weather. It's not wholly reasonable that they'd be white. You know what I mean? Like
they could be Nordic.
There are Norse people. You know what I mean? I get that the stuff that they're depicted as using in their culture is not very Norse, which is fine. But it's like I don't know why you would get so mad about that. And I understand that they say like, oh, well, it's Eastern influence, so all of the characters should be Eastern Asian characters, but at the same time, none of the creators are Eastern Asian.
Yeah,
they're all like hella white.
Weebs,
they're weebs. So like, I mean, you can kind of do whatever you want with it,
right?
And especially you're picking the water tribe, which besides the air tribe is
like,
who cares? The lowest population.
Yeah, literally, like everyone has like actual cities. They live in igloos and like tents.
Yeah, exactly. Except for the northern tribe, which has like the one castle.
Then it gets murked.
Yeah, but like I didn't mind the Indian people being the Fire Nation and like generally like Eastern Asian people being the Earth Nation. Like that's kind of how they went. That's fine, but like I guess they don't want to do like people on TikTok are getting really angry. So like you'll literally see a TikTok video and it'll be this girl and she's like, hey, just so you know, I do martial arts and also like I really love Avatar. So because what's the girl's name? Why?
Katara.
Because Katara is this color brown. She's actually supposed to be Vietnamese, and because of that, I'm Vietnamese, and so I should play Katara. And she's like, here's my campaign to make me Katara. First off, you're not entitled to jack shit. You're entitled to dick. Secondly,
you probably suck at acting because you're on TikTok.
Exactly. And then someone else like responded to it. And she's like, actually, she's very clearly Filipino.
Oh god.
So I should be Katara. And it's like, what is wrong with you? Like,
I am Katara.
Like Spartacus. We if you can take anything away, we are Katara.
We are all Katara.
We are all.
We are all Katara. And it's just
Katara shouldn't even be a character. It should just be like what
a conglomeration.
The missing no from Pokemon.
Yeah.
And like speaks in like sound bites and really loud noises and unpleasant things.
Every single episode, it's another person.
That could work
just
too.
A different person, different race, different nationality and ethnicity.
Yeah,
I love the
same scene even, just recast.
I think about what the thought process is, where they're like, the casting agent's definitely going to watch my TikTok.
Yeah, this is going to blow up.
It's going to blow up. I'm definitely going to be Katara from this.
Yeah.
casting agent doesn't give a single fuck about your TikTok.
This is the kind of people who are like 10 steps ahead. They're like, I'm on the red carpet of my third movie.
Yeah.
I get pulled aside. I'm sitting in a director's chair. We're doing it. And they're like, tell me about your start. I heard you got started with a TikTok video?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and it's like, bro, you're still in your basement.
Yeah.
Don't get out.
But I have to admire the confidence. I will say that. I respect the confidence.
You don't have to.
I do. I do.
You can.
I respect it.
So that's basically what we think. That's what Avatar is.
Yeah, all of that. Yeah. Whatever that mess is. But no, so they're doing live action. It's just had a resurgence. I think it's the longest Netflix top 10 show ever.
Cool.
Of all time. I believe it beat Ozark. If not, it's tied with Ozark, so that's pretty cool. It's going to only get even more popular because The Legend of Korra is coming on in August.
Yep. I haven't seen a single episode of that.
I'm going to be honest with you. I watched the first, 3, and they're, driving cars, and it's, the 1920s. And I'm like, ooh, what in the fuck? And it's only set, 50 years after the first one.
That's what happens when all the nations come together.
That's exactly what they say. When Ong reunites everybody and, has the Fire Nation step down, they, just go into this, industrial and technological marvel.
I love how, the Avatar, it's not depicted as, the Avatar's uniting people. It's like the Avatar's Dr. Manhattan. Just happened to be born to, one nation. Yeah. And he's sit down. And, just destroys one group. And
that's pretty much it.
It's not like we're all unified. You're done.
Yeah.
These people are in charge now.
Yeah. But Legend of Korra has a female protagonist. She's from the Water Tribe because it switches every... Aang is an airbender.
Who?
Ong is an airbender. He's the last airbender. And the Avatar, the last airbender. And so, I guess, did we really explain, the plot of the show?
Yeah.
Did we? Yeah, he's trying to master all the elements and stop Fire Nation. Okay, yeah. Well,
I will say this one thing.
Yeah.
Before we get into whatever you're going to get into.
Yeah.
I watched the Guru episode, which is, the end of season 2. That is, honestly, I watched that and I was like, Empire Strikes Back, maybe not that good of a movie.
Yeah.
Because this does it possibly better.
Season 2 is Earth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, book 2.
He, goes and learns from the Guru about, what the essence of this whole, society is, and where his power comes from.
Is that when he learns about the spirituals?
The chakra and everything, and they're just I'm like, yeah, this guy's better than Yoda.
Yeah.
This is dope.
Yeah.
And this is a kid. It's 8 p.m. I got to go to bed soon, and it's Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
And so.
And I'm watching. Yeah. And that was one thing that was big about Avatar is they didn't do previous Leons, right? I don't think they did.
I wouldn't remember.
Yeah, and so that was big. You literally had to watch it when it came out.
That was one of those just serial gotta be I had to story. It wasn't a new SpongeBob's coming in. I missed last week's. I'll be fine. It was no, you gotta be out. You gotta be there.
You have to watch it. So that says something because I got kids attentive and time managed. I guess I don't really know, but that's interesting.
Wow! You check your little Crayola watch. I gotta be home by this time. I gotta watch my shows.
Okay, is it Sokka or Sokka?
Sokka.
Okay, so in the movie they call him Sokka.
But was the movie just out to
it was literally let's rape every pronunciation possible. But guess who plays Sokka in the movie?
The voice of Sokka. The guy who does the voice.
No, the guy that plays Jasper from Twilight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the weird, awkward, one who wants to eat everybody?
Yeah.
That's the same guy.
I mean, that's their star. That's their star power.
That's the star power. He's the heavy hitter. Sweet Jesus. So yeah, I guess that's a good intro. I don't know.
It's certainly an intro.
We're talking about the fic today is about Zuko, who is the Fire Lord's son.
Oh.
And he wants to get his honor back by catching the Avatar.
He always has to restore his honor.
He always has to restore his honor by catching the Avatar. That's a good meme. And
oh my gosh, you know who actually did get famous? Because I was like, who played Zuko in the movie? Because I thought I knew who it was.
Yeah.
Dev Patel.
Yeah, Dev Patel.
So someone did get freaking massive.
Yeah, Dev. I mean, that guy's arguably in Hollywood, in Western media, probably arguably the biggest Indian actor.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I think that's fair to say. So that guy's great.
He's definitely in a ton of movies.
Yeah,
critically acclaimed.
Oh, for sure. So I mean, yeah, he plays Zuko, which is crazy. It's weird too if you watch the live action movie, you can very clearly tell when they're CGIing the kids. But the kid that played Ong was actually a martial artist, so you didn't really need to CGI him that much. But they CGI'd him a bunch.
It's again for little young Anakin, they got an actual Jedi, but then they proceeded to do all of his stuff in special effects. No, he's an actor. That's why you got him. Terrible actor, real Jedi.
He can actually move things.
That's why you got that TikTok artist. She's a martial artist. She didn't have to CGI.
She's Vietnamese. That's all you need.
Didn't have to CGI the Vietnamese on her.
No,
it was already there.
Yes.
That's why you took a chance on.
What the fuck? Whatever.
They should have CGI'd some acting on those kids.
They really should have CGI'd a lot more. So, this fic is on Archive of Our Own. It's called To Take Care. It's written by High Crescendo, H-A-I Crescendo. Summary. I'll do the shorter summary because there's two. Zuko discovers the truth about what happened to the air nomads and also rediscovers an endangered species.
Momo.
Zuko finds them at the Western Air Temple, and the first that they visit after his banishment. He doesn't mean to, and he sure as hell doesn't go looking for them, but he finds them anyway. He bolted out of the temple, past his uncle, past their camp, and runs until he reaches a forested meadow, where he drops to his knees and throws up everything he'd eaten that day. The tiny skulls wouldn't get out of his head. Spirits. They were so small, and the way they were piled up, huddled together against the back wall, not fighting, not murdering, not an army, makes Zuko want to crawl out of his skin. The air nomads had an army. That's what everyone was taught. That was what Zuko was taught. Everyone fights, just like in the Fire Nation, and defeating a great army is a great victory for the one who leads them. Zuko didn't see an army. All he'd seen were tiny buried skeletons with bigger ones in front, sheltering, protecting, uselessly. Not an army. His feelings are too big for his body, and Zuko vomits again until he's dry heaving and wheezing and sobbing. He digs his fingers into the dirt and holds because it's the only thing he knows how to do. Hold on, don't die, that's it. War is war, and if a soldier won't surrender, then the victor has to kill him. But honorable surrender is always given as an option, and even in the Fire Nation, children aren't allowed to go to war. Honorable surrender isn't even an option for children because it's the only option, because children can make the reasonable choice to go to war. If you find kids, you leave them, or take them, or you let them go, but you don't kill them. They can't make that choice yet. Zuko knows that. Everyone knows that. But these children are dead. And someone, whether that was his great-grandfather or someone under his umbrella of responsibility, his knowing, his honor, his trust, his loyalty, didn't let them surrender. It's a war crime. It's a travesty. It's obscene. It's wrong. It's illegal. It's an offense to everyone who claims to be just and loyal, who looks to the Fire Lord to be just and loyal. Zuko's whole body burns and chills, and he can't feel the left side of his face. He's apoplectic, with rage and grief. He's not sure how long he lays in the dirt and waits for the world to take him in his weakness. It's coming. It's always been coming. Zuko's known he was unwanted since he was 7, and woke up to Azula trying her level best to smother him with a pillow, and nobody did anything. It might as well take him now, as later, he figures. There's a pressure on his back. Zuko jumps and twists up and falls instinctively into a stance and freezes. Drops. Wants to throw up again, but there's nothing left to go. That's a bison standing right there. Eyes wide and frightened, like the fear of fire has been bred right into the line the way he's been bred out of Komodo rhinos. Zuko can't fucking believe it. Nobody's seen one since the defeat, the decimation, the annihilation, the murder of the air nomads, and Zuko can't move. He doesn't want to scare it off, but he doesn't want to see it either. Not after all those tiny little bones. He can't make himself frighten it off. He knows he looks awful, that death might be a mercy. Half of his face vanished, the other half tear-stained and dirty, his whole body shaking like a leaf. But the bison, huge up close, approaches him, puts its massive head on his back, and gives a quiet low of sound. And Zuko can't stop the tears that burn and sting and cleanse. It's a long time before he has the strength to get up on his feet, and he feels wrung out and shaky, like he got put back together the wrong way. The bison watches him and waits until he's steady before pushing its face into his dirty hands. Zuko doesn't know how long sky bison are supposed to live, but he's pretty sure this one's not old enough to have been tamed. It's hesitant, but not afraid enough to be tame. Just the smell of soot and smoke on him should be enough to send it running, never to be seen again. If it has experienced any part of the massacre 100 years ago. But nevertheless, it lets Zuko bury his hands in its thick fur and hold on until his feet work. And slowly, he starts the walk back up to the temple, back to Uncle, back to almost a century of shame and horror left to rot and be forgotten. They need burial rites. Zuko doesn't know when a nomad spirit needs to rest, so what he knows will have to do. Sort the bodies, burn the bones, and maybe throw the ashes into the wind. It's the best he's got. And he has to tell Uncle about the sky bison. What are we thinking so far?
Dope.
So it's not done. This is just like a natural break in the story. They had a little line.
It's sick, and like it really makes you think about like how when it comes to like times of war, when those who are waging the war are just purely doing it for conquest, how they have to make things up to their people. Yeah. And what first blush is a really out there comparison, but first blush it makes me think of Jojo Rabbit. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. But it depicts essentially like this young boy who's growing up in Nazi Germany.
Oh no, okay, no, I haven't seen it. Yeah,
and he's all like, "Oh, like I'm going to kill the enemy," and they have like wings and they have great armies. And then he actually meets someone who's like Jewish, and he's like, "Oh, it's just like a person. They're not great. There's no army. They're not trying to kill us or anything." And that's what this makes you think of. It's like you all of a sudden like you've been sold this lie. Like there's like you will win glory by fighting this. I'm trying to think. I'm thinking of like another like literary example of that. I want to say like Heart of Darkness, but like they really don't do a great job of humanizing the tribe people in that one. But like the idea of like you've been sold a bill of goods, that's not what it appears to be. These are peaceful people, and your entire life has been based on a lie for conquest.
One very general rule about warfare in particular is that it's a tough thing to say, but unfortunately for there to be a conflict, there has to be a level of otherizing. There has to be a level of discrimination.
In-group, out-group.
Yeah, exactly. And it is the job of the people who are waging the war higher up to create that distinction between us and them. which like that's a painful thing to say.
That's why you enlist Walt Disney to make cartoons.
That's exactly what happened
before films.
Exactly.
To get people fired up. Yeah.
Yes, and that's unfortunately we still have a lot of slurs and a lot of things in our culture that are ingrained into us from past wars that nobody's alive to talk about anymore. I mean, have you ever heard just the term Jerry to describe a German?
Yeah, yeah.
Like that was supposed to be a slur at one point.
Was that World War One?
Both. Yeah, but it started with World War One.
Mm-hmm.
The Jerrys. We were going to go over there and fight the Jerrys and kick the Kaiser.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of alliterations like that, and I like that they took that premise of there was this otherizing, and they there were these lies that had to be told to sell this. There are definitely WMDs in Iraq, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. There has to be, right?
That's what I really like in you too. It plays up that no, this can't be they have an army. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
They have vicious, bloodthirsty.
We had to wipe them out.
Savages.
Yeah. That's not what happened.
That's great.
Yeah, and I will say, having rewatched it, not so recent, but more than when I was a little kid, 8, they do a really good job depicting war, and to be a show for kids to get so much into refugees and displacement and what these powers are doing. Nothing but the utmost respect for Avatar. I'm just going to say right now, if you're listening and you've never watched Avatar, I mean, it's free on Netflix right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Unless you are a chump who's actually paying for it. You got to be siphoning off of someone else's
Netflix. You're not using your parents' Netflix?
Yeah, what?
What are you talking about?
Yeah. You're not parents?
What the fuck?
You're a wizard?
Yeah, you're a wizard, Harry. Well, at that point, you could just
make your own Avatar.
Yeah, exactly. Iroh is constantly surprised by his nephew, but this might be the new standard. Zuko standing before him, back ramrod straight and jaw raised, despite clear evidence of tears still on his face. He makes an excellent picture of a stoic soldier about to make a report, or he would if not for the massive bison standing behind him and trying its level best to chew on his phoenix tail. His mirth doesn't entirely override the shock. If anyone on this planet could possibly rediscover the sky bison by accident, it would definitely be his nephew. We have work to do, Uncle, Zuko says, seriously, and doesn't shift out of parade rest. We have to, and here his expression goes vulnerable and horrified, and all Iroh wants to do is hold him, but he can't, not right now. We have to take care of the bodies and set their spirits to rest, ours and theirs. For there were plenty of Fire Nation corpses too, though far fewer. Also, I found a sky bison. It's funny that they say the thing about the Fire Nation corpses, because when I read that, I read it as I'm purging my own spirit for having been associated with the people that did this.
Oh, you mean the air nomads, having to give them a proper burial and everything?
We
need to set their spirits free, but in a way he's I need to cleanse myself of this guilt.
I'm absolving myself of something I never did, though I feel guilty for it.
I like to think that there's more of a horror and a writing of past deeds and trying to do right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
These people, not more so I feel guilty for this. More so this is the honorable and right thing to do.
Well, it not only is the honorable right thing to do, but also there is a level of guilt I would assume it is experienced because of the fact that you bought into the lies and you did believe them, and because of you believing those lies, something bad happened to these people.
Yeah. Does the guilt?
It's common. Yeah.
Is the guilt what?
Yeah. Iroh's voice is choked and strangled when he says, I can see that. What he doesn't ask is what Zuko plans to do about it. It's clear that the boy is hurt and struggling, and while Iroh isn't having an easy time of it, he's also not terribly surprised. Horrified, yes. Surprised, no.
I do like this picture of Iroh as the woke guy. He's oh, there are no armies.
Yeah.
Everyone's shut up, old man. He's I'm saying, man, it's all a lie.
I mean, that's Iroh the whole series, basically.
Yeah.
Ever since his son died, which we do find out in Tales of Lost Sing Se.
TOBS.
Yeah.
S?
Yeah, whatever it is. We learned that he is kind of over war, and he kind of is through with it and doesn't like it, and he lost his son because of the lies his brother told.
Yeah, he's a great general. He's if Alexander the Great marched the other end of the earth and got there and was what's the point? And
was always worth it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Iroh's by far my favorite character.
He's the best character, yeah, absolutely.
I know.
On Wait Until coming this summer.
Young
Iroh origins.
Oh, god damn it. The prequel. Iroh. Jesus. I know what to do with our people, Uncle, but what of the others? Zuko asks. Do you know anything? Iroh rubs his chin, looking thoughtful. I haven't read anything specific, he admits, eventually. In retrospect, I wish I had looked a bit harder. He's not sure the spirits of air will appreciate being burned. Zuko looks just as unsettled. Are fire rites better than no rites at all? He asks after some thought. I don't know what they want. And what they want is important. He doesn't have to say. After Zuko bolted past him and out of the temple entirely, Iroh had looked into the room he just left and had to grab the wall. It's no small matter. And Zuko is kind. He's hurting right now from every direction, and a good day for him still means he's more prickly than a porcupine bear. But it's not his pride or ego that hurts. It's his heart. Iroh would rather cut out his own than take that kindness out of him. I think, Iroh tells him very gently, they might forgive cremation if thrown to the wind with respect.
That's what I was just thinking.
That's nice.
That's dope.
And I don't think we covered it. Zuko is Fire Ozai's son. He was originally tasked with finding the Avatar and setting his honor straight. We talked about that.
Yep, he has to capture the Avatar in order to restore his honor.
When he got dishonored, I don't know, banished.
Yeah, banished.
Iroh went with him.
And his uncle.
In Book 3, he trains Aang in the art of firebending. And that's
so what you're saying is that his dad was right about him the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, he kind of is a failure, though.
I mean...
kind of sucks, though.
Yeah. But in this case, being a failure was good.
Yeah. So this story, I know we're still in the middle of it, and I keep interrupting. This story is set before he trains Aang. And might be one of the reasons why he does so.
Right.
Yeah. The work is horrible and backbreaking and messy. It's supposed to be hard, Zuko thinks, and forces himself to hold it together. Uncle's fine. Somber and serious, but he doesn't look like Zuko feels. Tense and tight on a tether. Like the slightest wind will blow him to pieces. It's supposed to be hard and horrible because what happened was hard and horrible. And every time Zuko finds himself holding a very small, sooty skull in his hands, he has to stop and do some deep breathing until he can keep going. With every body, he and Uncle say a silent prayer to Agni. For their own people, for them to simply be taken to rest because that and salt and flame is all they need to settle.
To who?
Agni?
Is there a god in this universe?
Maybe it's the fire deity?
Here we go. Keep going.
Maybe it's the fire turtle. For the rest, Zuko asks the sun spirit to find whoever watches over the people of the air, to carry them where they need to go, and a traitorous apology. He can't own up to that part, not to Uncle. It feels like giving up, like he's betraying his country to feel that this was wrong. But it was, and he's sorry, even if there's nothing he can do about it. The bison that Zuko definitely hasn't already named Mochi is still hanging... I fucking hate that. I hate how fanfiction always has to do that. He definitely hasn't already done that. Like,
who may or may not, but definitely is already named. Yeah, it's
like that's such a cheeky way to cut the sincerity of the piece.
Yeah.
God, that bothers me. I don't know. That's just like you're writing something that doesn't sound like or feel like fan fiction, and then you have to go with, he definitely didn't name it Mochi.
Yeah.
They trouble.
It doesn't feel like fan fiction. What is fan fiction supposed to feel like?
Dude, are you defining this? Are you putting boundaries on this art? They trundle her out. What? What?
It's not a monolith.
Yeah, they trundled her out before they started burning, and Zuko was sure that she'd fly away, flee the way the air nomad should have, but she didn't. He's not sure whether he wants her to or not. And finally, they're ready to let the ashes blow, and maybe it's a coincidence, and maybe not, but the wind blows a hard spiral, catches the cloud of ash, and carries it away. Slowly, Zuko sinks into the ground. He feels hollow and wretched, and like he wants to sleep for a week. Zuko might never sleep again. Uncle settles himself down on the ground next to him, doesn't touch, knows better, but makes himself close. He doesn't ask Zuko if he's okay. He's not stupid. Uncle, he begins, stops, thinks, starts again. This wasn't right. Not just what they taught us was a lie. There was no army at all. Not here. Just little kids and nuns and babies and a bunch of pacifists who didn't see any of it coming. There are rooms still with cribs that they had to go through. Zuko was never sleeping again. It wasn't right, and not just because it was a lie. It was wrong to do it at all. Uncle says nothing, like he can sense that Zuko isn't done. And Zuko's not done. He turns and reaches out just once to grip Uncle Iroh's sleeve. Holds tight, releases. Uncle, this was wrong. We were wrong. It hurts, like a full-body hit taken undefended, slipping right past Zuko's defenses and landing soundly in the softest sport he has. We came here to learn about airbenders so that I could find the Avatar wherever he is, so that Zuko could find him, capture him, and take him home, so that the pit of shame and guilt and not enough could finally fill in and he wouldn't just be a disappointment anymore. He'd be the crown prince who did what so many couldn't, capture the Avatar and win the war. But no one knew anything about the Avatar, and as far as the war, Zuko wants to throw up. I don't think I can do it. And with those words, Zuko buries his face in his palms and can't even look Uncle in the eyes. You haven't been exiled, he mumbles into his hands. You could still go home. I wouldn't stop you, and I wouldn't blame you. That part he doesn't say, he just thinks. Mm-hmm. And leave him there to rot, like he deserves to be a traitor to his country. Uncle's staring, pale and shaken. He looks at him like he's seeing him for the first time, and he then clears his throat. Nephew, please do not take my silence for agreement, he says, finally, quietly. I thought I would have more time before we would talk about this, and had hoped that by the time we would, I would know what to say. Zuko feels cold down to his bones. Firebenders can still freeze. Uncle's the one to reach out now.
That's a good line.
That's a really good line. To take his shoulders in his hands and reel him in to crush his sooty, devastated nephew to his chest. When I came with you, I had already made my decision. Wherever you go, I will follow. You are my family.
Wherever you go, whatever you do, I will be right here waiting for you.
You are my family, far more than what we left in the capital. And you are right, Prince Zuko. This was wrong. He can't say I'm proud of you. Zuko isn't ready to hear it. But he gives the boy in his arms a squeeze and doesn't loosen until he stops trembling. I will not forsake you, not here, nor anywhere else. Zuko sags against him, completely speechless and relieved. He wouldn't have been surprised if he left, and he's glad it didn't happen, but he doesn't think he'd forgive himself if he hadn't given Uncle the option. Even though now he's definitely signed himself up for extra meditation and calming tea. The moon's up, shining white over the mountains. What do I do? Zuko had felt better, moored with a purpose. That purpose is now gone, scattered out on the wind, never to be seen again. He feels lost and aimless. He is lost and aimless. What to do will come when it's ready, Uncle tells him and lets him sit up, keeps his arm wrapped firmly around Zuko's shoulders. The real question is, what do we do about the bison? There's nothing Zuko can do for the people who once lived here. He's idealistic, but not stupid. The dead are dead, and very rarely get a say. But the bison are here and alive and survived somehow for a century without being seen or found. How many might be there? Are they healthy? Where are they even living? We need to find the rest, Zuko says firmly. We'll take care of them. Finding the bison is easy. All Zuko has to do is get up the nerve to climb on top of Muchi and let her walk him to the rest of her...
I thought it wasn't Muchi.
It definitely wasn't Muchi. Rest of the herd hauled away in the hidden little forest in caves. I don't know. Am I okay?
You're right. That seemed very out of place.
It was. It's like you're writing something that isn't full of fan fiction tropes.
We talked about the peer review process earlier. That went through the peer review process. They're like, you need to put this in.
Yeah. They're like, this isn't good enough. This isn't fan fiction enough. Weirds incredulously. From the little bits that Uncle's managed to read about them, he knows that that's not where they're most comfortable. Bison are meant to have space, with lots of room to move and graze and stretch. These, they hide. They aren't afraid, not really, not in the way that they would be if they'd experienced human cruelty, but something about them is hesitant and frightened. Zuko sits on top of Mochi and lets her plod him around for 3 hours before the others will let him close. By then he's named all the ones he can tell apart. There's Mochi and Maja and Furikake and Kutsodon and Dango, and he'll come up with the other names for the rest later. But now, he's so relieved that Mochi isn't the last one that he wants to lay down on the ground and not get up for a while. Zuko does not do that. He does, however, lay down on Mochi and doesn't get up for a while. And there are so very few of them, and Zuko knows nothing about bison, and this was a terrible idea. At least Uncle's gone down to Wani to talk to G and the crew. Searching for the Avatar? Sure, fine, okay. Not searching for the Avatar? There may be a problem. Especially when it came to Marines and military having their orders charged on them. For all Zuko knows, he won't even have a crew by the end of the day. And then what's he to do? Wait, stop, think. Plan for bison first, plan for the crew next, plan for Zuko after that. Zuko eyes the tiny herd of bison, eyes the temple that he can just barely see, upside down and talks into a mountain. That's not a good place for them to live, and the forest isn't a good place for them to live, and aren't bison supposed to be able to fly? He hasn't seen a single one so much as hover. The sky part of the sky bison has to be true, right? In the end, though, he makes his way back down to the ship and nearly runs headlong into Lieutenant G, who has a look on his face like he's sure he's lost his mind, with Uncle close behind him. Zuko stares at him, straightens and dares him with his mind to start a fight, only to have the man stop mid-step and turn into a firebender-shaped statue. Zuko feels something lipping at the end of his phoenix tail and swaps a hand backwards, catches Mochi in the nose. Stop that, he grumbles at her. Sir, that's a sky bison. Duh. I thought my uncle told you about them. Uncle Iroh shrugs helplessly.
Was that an insert, or...?
No, it's written, but it's not said. It's thought.
Okay, I'm fine.
Uncle Iroh shrugs helplessly in the background. He did, sir. She side-eyes Uncle with a pointed look that plainly says that this was not what he signed up for.
This is getting a little sassy.
Yeah.
Where's this going? This is a lot of tones.
Yeah. Zuko's definitely lost his crew, and he's only had them for a week. And what are they going to do, sir? Zuko jumps. What? He snaps out of the habit. Being startled makes him snarlier. What are we going to do with them? That's not what Zuko had expected, and he flounders for a moment and forgets, just for a bit, about the bandages around his head. G looks at him, looks at Uncle, and then looks at Mochi. Despite himself, he puts out a hand for her to sniff, which she does. Zuko lets himself relax just a little. I thought it was obvious what we were going to do. It wasn't. Bison are an endangered species, and we're going to save them. Finn. Fic Finn. What are we thinking? I would say just in the slightest bit inconsistent with Tom.
Yeah, really got a little inconsistent there at the end. But I do like how it kind of goes through all the steps. Because it's not like you see this atrocity and all of a sudden you're like, well, we were wrong. I think there's a lot of really good like nuance in the beginning where it was like we were so wrong. But like the fact that I'm thinking that makes me feel guilty because I'm so indoctrinated. Which is like a real hallmark of the amount of like molding that a society can do to you.
Fire Nation guilt.
Yeah.
Fire Nation guilt.
Yeah, the Fire Nation's plight.
Yeah.
So that was really good, and then the fact that like once you get past that, again, this was moving quickly. But, like once you get past that, you feel so like untethered, and like your reality is shifted, and you realize like there's nothing above me but sky.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which was really good.
Yeah.
But did you need me?
And definitely didn't. I like the idea of like, okay, my mission to catch the Avatar is totally gone because I don't agree with this anymore. What's my new mission? I want to save these things. I like that.
Simple. Start small. And like he sees maybe the reason that he's anthropomorphizing these bison by naming them is because he's seeing them as the last of these people who are dead. He's like these the fact that I'm going to say these people is going to make up these bison is going to make up for the fact that those people were killed. Yeah. And they will have their own lives that are just as important and fruitful and they matter as much.
Yeah. I like the idea of like Zuko at some point telling a whole like battalion of firebender, like the army, like, no, you just watch these bison for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Like,
I like that to be like a niche, like little community though. Yeah, it'd be like something that I would like go backpacking through if I was in that world. This like uncommon like concoction of
Yeah.
fire and air started
God.
meeting, I'd be like, I'm here for
Yeah, I'm right there, bro. It's like
a maroon ship.
yeah.
Yeah.
They created Uncle Iroh prequel. Have you ever seen the picture of the people in Africa who were guarding like the last white rhino in existence in the wild?
No.
Oh, it's just like this armed militia of dudes who are like, this one's not gonna get poached, and it's just like these dudes who just like AKs and just standing like around the rhino, and the rhino's so comfortable with them, and they're like, yeah, you're not gonna poach this one. That's what I see with the bison with firebenders.
Yeah.
Just like guys like, nah, you're not gonna get these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like people that have convened with nature, and that's it. But, yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's really good. I think that whole characterization of Zuko and really fleshes out his character a lot, which is, again, he's stellar. We talk about Iroh being our favorite character. Like, the best arc.
Oh, it's Zuko's.
Yeah.
Zuko's redemption arc is crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's great. It's like Jaime Lannister if they actually freaking stuck the landing.
Jesus Christ. I'll say I do a lot of work with like conflict and war and stuff like that, and it seems like this person did their research, and if not, they're just very well attuned.
Or at least well read.
The themes and the tropes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that a lot. So
because it is really sad. I mean, I guess they kind of play on that a couple times when Aang goes to an air temple and is like, I'm so sad. The other character's like, I'm so sorry, but like that was a legit genocide.
Yeah.
That could have gotten really dark.
And
like, really dark themes.
And the thing is, like, your little boy brain at the time isn't like, well, it's really sad that like his people were genocided. Like, wow. It's just like, yo, go back to the bending then. Like, this is boring. Play some shit we know. You know what I mean?
Oh, is this whole episode where he's sad, like where he's not gonna like ride his little air scooter?
Yeah, exactly. He's not gonna pull out his kite and fly. Like, come on.
Yeah, but he does at the end.
Yeah, at the end. Like, oh yeah, that's why I watch the show.
Let's go. Yeah. But I mean, honestly, those are really dark themes you can hit on. And
yes,
I like that this kind of expand on that. Like this, I would feel comfortable with. And what's this author's name again?
High Crescendo.
High Crescendo.
High Crescendo.
I feel like I would feel comfortable getting High Crescendo like a comic series.
Yeah,
they could like make it as dark as they want.
Yeah,
and really like flesh out an EU.
Yeah. I would just wanted to focus on Zuko, though. I think they do have Zuko pinned.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I would read that.
Yeah.
I'd read that.
I think it's interesting that they said a thing about the kids, too, because the show is basically about children caught up in this war and, like, living in this life that they've always known, besides Ong. And, you know, Zuko's, 16 in the show? He's basically a kid himself.
Yeah, but he's a little more hardened, you know, as a warrior. He's nice
and then Toph is a...
She hasn't seen anything,
Jesus Christ. Toph is the earthbender that helps Ong learn how to earthbend, and she is blind. She uses the seismic waves of vibrations to find out where things are.
She's Daredevil.
She's Daredevil, yeah. Interesting, the creators originally meant for Toph to be some, like, yoked dude. And obviously they didn't do that. But you know the one episode where they are in the Fire Nation and they watch the play about themselves?
Yes.
Toph is a yoked dude.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That was how they were like...
That was a good meta episode. It was a good way to do like a clip episode, but like kind of be meta about it. And that episode is also kind of related to fan fiction because it also brought in like a lot of like ships and a lot of like things that the fandom was saying.
Yes.
So that was really interactive. I remember that episode.
Yeah.
I remember hating that episode.
It also showed like the power of the propaganda that they were like pumping out. Like, this is what's going on overseas.
Yeah.
And it wasn't what was going on overseas. That is Avatar is Korra specifically, Legend of Korra, is sort of well known for its fan service because a lot of people in the fan community really wanted her to get with another female, and it was basically by the power of the internet that the creators ended up doing that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end, who maybe it's a two-way street.
No, I mean,
maybe it was always going to be that way. Maybe it was influenced that way, or maybe they were like, "Hey, honestly, that's a better idea than what we had."
Yeah, the way I've been sold the story is that it was through the power of the internet that it happened. But like, I
remember reading that as well.
I don't care if it happened, but it's like it's interesting that they were so receptive to fan input, and maybe willing to like do what they wanted. Which is, I don't know if that's good or bad.
Hey man, as long as it sells action figures, they're gonna do it.
Yeah. Interesting. Anything else?
Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay. What are you stoked on this week?
This week, 2 mini stokes.
Okay.
First mini stoke.
Mini stoke help.
I recently got an air fryer.
Okay.
And I'm super mini stoked on that.
Okay.
Made some fried chicken. It's dope.
I've seen people fry steaks in those.
Why would you fry steak? You could. Yeah. I could. I very well could. And I might, now that you've said that.
Yeah.
A small circular steak. I don't know why, because it would not fit in there. So I'm mini stoked on that. Other mini stoke is the new Taylor Swift album, Folklore.
I'm going to side with Smash Mouth on this one. Borlore.
No. It's dope. It's very good. My sister and our friends already created a TikTok dance to Invisible Strings. It's blown up on TikTok right now, so get out there. Get out there and get after it.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm enjoying that. I'm listening to Taylor Swift while I air fry things.
Well, that's one of the widest things I've ever heard in my life. So I'm glad you're stoked on that. Should I have a stoke or an anti-stoked?
Whatever you want.
I kind of have an anti-stoked.
First for everything.
Yeah. So we've doted on Tom King many times. right?
Yeah.
We like Tom King.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I thought he was a good guy.
Yeah.
He posted on Twitter.
Oh, you're talking about Comicsgate?
Yeah. You know what I'm talking
He
about?
thinks they're a hate group or something, right?
Well, okay, so the thing is, call Comicsgate what you want. I'm not really going to get into what I think they are. It doesn't really matter. For those of you who don't know, I'd say probably about 2 years ago, there was an exodus of some people in the comic book community who said you were making comic books too political, and then the argument on the other side was comic books have always been political, which is like half true. They've been political in the sense of like Alan Moore is going to write Rorschach as the embodiment of fascism, but he's not going to sit there and be like, "Isn't Rorschach bad? Don't we hate bad people and Donald Trump?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like so outwardly like in your face political. So that's sort of where the difference is.
It was communism, but subtle.
Exactly. And there were a lot of people who were getting hired at Marvel at the time who many argued were not qualified and did not deserve the job, and some people in Comicsgate said that they only received the positions because of their identity breakdown. So a lot of people left, and then they started making their own comics. Kickstarter, Indiegogo, all those places. They have a very strong internet community. I don't know if that's good or bad, but they have a community.
I'm going to always say strong internet communities are bad.
Yeah.
They're just always bad.
No, anything on the internet's bad at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because Tom King, who is a very prominent writer and a white guy, found out that a guy named Jay Lee did a variant cover for Rorschach 1. Mm-hmm. Jay Lee is a Korean man who's living in America, who is not online and is not a part of any groups, and apparently, from what I read, has been not struggling, but is doing his best to find work as consistently as possible.
Right.
And Tom King basically tweeted this thing like, DC let this guy from Comicsgate, which is a hate group, do a variant cover. I didn't agree to it. The writers don't have say over who does variant covers.
Right?
Yeah, I think it looks awesome. The writers who write the books don't have say over variant covers, and as far as I'm concerned, the only cover is the one that I released. Yeah, which is also an awesome cover.
This is dope too.
Yeah, and Jay Lee, and then so people got really polarized immediately. People were tweeting at DC and saying, "Hey, just so you know, your author's telling people not to buy your book," which he didn't say that, but whatever. And the whole point is a white, prominent, very, very prominent comic book writer.
Probably like the
I would say at least top 3 right now in the business. Tweeted and targeted a minority man, immigrant, I believe, and called him a part of a hate group and almost made him lose his job.
Yeah.
And Tommy Boy, I think you're a good writer, and I've met you in person.
He's listening.
I know he's listening. I think you're a really nice guy. But at the same time, I totally irresponsible to do that. He's admitted it was irresponsible. He's apologized for it. He said, quote, "It's all good between me and Jay." And then Jay posted on Instagram and said, "It's not all good. I've been getting hate mail, and people have asked me why I'm a part of a hate group." So that's my anti-stoked. It's just sort of like, if you don't like that Comicsgate is political, don't get political yourself, is sort of the way that I look at it.
You want to know how unwoke I am?
All right.
When I first saw that tweet, and I saw I think I saw it on Instagram.
Yeah.
I thought it was Jim Lee.
Jim Lee. Oh God. If it was Jim Lee, then that's also a Asian American.
Yeah.
Who he would have said was
I
part
saw
of
Lee, and I was like, it's Jim Lee.
God damn it, Jim Lee.
Yeah.
You can't even tell them apart, huh, Ryan?
Yeah.
Good for you, buddy. No, but I don't. It's an anti-stoked because he knows how much power he has in the business.
Downer.
And also, at the end of the day, you are not the owner of Rorschach, and you are not the CEO of DC.
It's true.
You are an employee, and even though you are providing a story, you are providing a service.
Right.
And until it's creator-owned and you're making those decisions, I don't really think you should have a say in who does your variants. Because guess what? Artists, for the most part, already don't have a say. Tom King has been extremely privileged in his career.
Yeah, to be able to pick his
artists.
To be able to pick his artists.
And if you want to talk about privilege in a position of power,
he's got it.
You're right there, buddy. Like, I was just watching a thing about how, at the very beginning, Neil Gaiman didn't get to pick who drew Sandman. Do you know how fucking insane that sounds to me? Like, the greatest comic book series of all time.
He was being, tossed into the bullpen. And they're like, who wants this? Who wants a whack at it?
Yeah, because it was notorious for switching artists. So, I have an anti-stoked. I like Tom King as an author. And the only reason I bring this up is because we've had the conversation on the show, like, death of the author, and whether or not, when it goes out into the world, whether it's still theirs. And you're very death of the author, I'm very not. But then that would bring up the question of some of like, Alex, what do you think about separating art from the artist? And my response to that would be, I don't believe in death of the author. I believe if things are written, then they are written to be interpreted the way that they're meant to be interpreted, if they're meant to have an interpretation.
If at all, sure.
If at all. However, at the same time, you can still like something that someone did, even though they weren't a good person.
You know what? I saw you walk up with your headphones. I bet you were listening to Michael Jackson, weren't you?
No, I actually.
I bet you were listening to Michael Jackson.
I was actually listening to Joji, so I hope you like that one. He's a K-pop. Do you like that?
I do like that.
Yeah, there you go. I'm stoked on Joji. Fucking love Joji. He's great, by the way. But I don't know. Because I guess if you were really tracking my ideologies closely, which I know no one really gives a shit about,
they're charting it online.
But it would seem like
they're listening because you were listening to a Michael Jackson, Chris Brown mashup.
Bad, yeah.
When you were coming up here,
exactly. And
can't get enough of Breezy, can you?
Just watching the clip of Janet Jackson having her top ripped off over and over again. I know you would ask, how would you line up with Death of the Author and separating the art from the artist? And I think it's easy to do that. The intention doesn't have to be missed, but at the same time, the author's entire human existence does not have to encapsulate one bit of work.
I like the idea of a bumbling author whose intention is to write like a hateful manifesto, but it's actually interpreted by a bunch of people as like a really inclusive like work or like a satire of the whole thing. That's your moral conundrum that's coming.
Yeah. So there was a...
But guys, that's not what it's about. Like, no, you're great. Like, come to our benefits. I hate you, no.
There are these guys who were goofing on the peer review system, and they submitted excerpts from Mein Kampf, but replaced Jew with white, and got really popular. They actually got they got it published.
I think you told me.
And they got retracted because they realized it was from Mein Kampf.
Yeah, I think
so maybe that's what's going on. I have no idea. It's interpreted and it's like, that's pretty inclusive. Yeah. I have no idea. So that's my anti-stoked on. I'm not very stoked on the actions of an author that I
But
like.
You can separate them so you still consume stuff.
Yeah. I'm going to do my best. If I feel like he keeps doing stuff, I'll do my best not to try to support him monetarily if I can help it. Because, I guess you can vote with your dollar if you want to. But I'm not saying let's boycott Tom King. He also wrote a long message on Twitter and said he was sorry and he apologized. I just wish he had taken that 2 extra seconds to not post about something like that. You know what I mean? Like, you do have a responsibility with who you are to be a little smarter about the things you tweet.
Yeah, I mean, that's also like the thing with Twitter is like you can just a knee-jerk
so
reaction
impulsive.
and all of a sudden it's just like all over the place.
Yeah. And I mean, apparently, I don't know if he was at a big threat, but according to one source I read, like, it like semi-threatened his relationship with DC in a bad way. Because they were like, dude, why are you being so fucking impulsive?
Marvel would have taken him.
Marvel would want him badly. They do, because he wrote Vision. So. That was my anti-stoked on. Doesn't matter. That's the episode. I had a fun time. What about you?
I had a very fun time.
Good. We're Stuck with Fanfic. Follow us everywheres. Leave us rates and reviews, and gives us monies on your Patreons. On our Patreons. What should we remember, Ryan?
This week, let's remember to bring unity in all 4 of the elements to our lives. And also, fuck BuzzFeed.
Yeah, fuck BuzzFeed.